it's like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires. So if that sounds super cool to you, you're a fucking psychopath. But if it doesn't, if you're like, I don't want a Fitbit in my skull,
I don't want you touching.
Let me give you. Oh, go ahead. Yep.
Oh, go. You gonna read some more?
Yeah,
about
I'm just
it?
gonna read this last little sentence, and
okay.
then we'll chop it up. So he says it's a Fitbit for your skull, but what his real goal is, I wanted to bring this up just because this is where I want the real discussion to go, so we know where his intentions are. The goal is AI symbiosis, which he's talked about before, but he dives deeper, which allows the human brain to merge with artificial intelligence, such that in the future, the world will be controlled by a combined will of AI and human. And then he jokes in this press conference that he's like, I could actually have one on right now. Like it could be, it's supposed to enhance humanity. So what do we think about somebody who has shown his cards this year to be someone who does not have the most of the highest intentions for his own workers, for his own people, let alone some of his takes, being the innovator, because this technology is extremely innovative. So it's being pushed through. Being the innovator for something like this that's going to be putting literal chips in people's skulls.
He's a demon.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me think of Raymond Kurzweil with the Human 2.0. He said that by this time we'll have AI within our bodies helping us live longer. But I'm not with it. But I'll say I am, because if they take over, I want them to hear me. Remember from the old DigiTribe? Yeah,
we said that before.
But I was thinking about this earlier. Like when you were a kid, if somebody told you like, hey, do you want a chip in your head to make you like half computer? You'd have been like, oh, cool. You know what I mean?
Not me.
But I feel like we grow up since the world is how it is, we have like the disparities, the greed, the deceit, that you can't trust anything that anybody says. And he's just turned into like the Westworld villain, pretty much.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Literally.
Somebody did this.
Well, I think the sly thing about it is he's kind of more like a villain from The Walking Dead, where they always have those like these white guys that present well, they speak a certain way, they are not stereotypically what mainstream society would consider to be a villain. But then that there's the big twist, like, oh, this nice white guy is actually the villain, right? Meanwhile, like all the black people watching Walking Dead already knew that he was a villain from the get-go, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what, like, we're sensing what's happening under the surface. But as you watch the video of how he presents it, of course they're presented it as a way of dealing with a lot of neurological issues like strokes and spinal issues and things like that. So it's being touted as, being able to be a breakthrough medical device, if you right, for neurology. And what was I going to say? The other thing is, then when they start asking more questions, then he starts to reveal the other parts where he's like, someone's like, oh, well, can you control, your computer or can you control a Tesla with your brain? And he's like,
oh, nice.
Like, yeah, you can do that. Yeah. And he's like, you can actually use your thoughts to control your computer. And that's when it really starts to get weird. So when it's presented in a way where it's like, oh, this is to be able to deal with, neurological issues. And then he presents the test in the pigs, and where he's like, you can implant it, you can easily take it out, all those things, people are going to easily accept that and be like, oh, well, this is okay. And they just got FDA approved to be able to start testing in humans.
Whoa.
He's finessing, man. Actually,
so with that, a lot of people are gonna, they're gonna accept it and be like, okay, well, this is where technology is expected to go. But again, Elon has really shown his true hand through his tweets, through his recklessness, through his opinions, and can't be trusted
at all.
Thanks.
I feel like he's trying so hard to be like a more innovative Bill Gates. I feel like at the end of the day, like you guys all touched on, it's just like an evil genius type of vibe, and I don't trust it at all.
Or even
the
like,
Supreme Chancellor.
or even
Right.
the genius who doesn't know what he's really doing.
Yeah,
he might.
it's like,
I mean, I'm sure he does,
I
but he's
know.
like the naive genius. Where
Right.
no, I'm gonna do this for mankind. But like, if somebody would have told people, like in the 20s, like, oh, you have this device in your hand that can tell you the weather and all of this, I wonder how many people would have been like, nah.
I don't know even if it's naive. I think there's a reason why Elon Musk and Kanye West get along, because there's a little bit of this, like, I'm special. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to drive humanity. And there's gonna be consequences. There's gonna be casualties, right? And it seems like he's operating more from a space of just like, maybe some casualties.
Pretty good.
And that's just what it is.
Wrapping up this subject, basically fuck Elon Musk. And let's keep a close eye on him.
Yeah,
because he does have Neuralink. He could be like operating at a level of brain processing power where he's like 50 years in the future and he has us all enslaved.
What
Keep
if
a close
like with
fucking eye on
China
him.
or something?
Yeah.
Like, what if there's like some type of spin on it, like where he's actually working with another country? Like,
bruh, who knows? He could
I
be
think
the
his ego's too
Manchurian.
big.
He could be the Manchurian candidate. We never know.
Yeah.
I mean, like the real talk, we don't know.
He
really
might
don't
be
know.
an alien.
right.
They came and visited us. So
I'm just saying, him and like Zuck, a few of these dudes are really robotic like now. They're very.
it's like they have to concentrate to make facial expressions.
I think they already cyborgs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, man. So, all right,
What's next?
moving on. Yeah, I'm gonna keep still a tight ship, man. Even though we freestyling, keeping a tight ship because we want to give people.
So you got 3 more seconds.
Yeah, we keeping a tight ship. So, now we're gonna get into this is something new, and I want to again make this the opportunity to shout out how we're trying to grow and expand this platform known as Digital Good Times. We have 2 ways for you to interact or to get involved. And the best way, unfortunately, right now, is going to be by becoming a part of our Digital Good Times DigiTribe Facebook group. And the only reason why I say unfortunate is because every week we have a horrible article about what Facebook is doing with their platform. And in particular, we could talk about what just happened with the young brother, the Blake brother, and how Facebook enabled the fucking white supremacist military group. And it's like, they're literally like an unfortunate necessary evil, but we are building community and there's a lot of positive things coming out of it. And that's the whole reason why I want to use this time to highlight some of like the real best comments and commenters on the DigiGoodTribe. So that means if you want to get your comment read, you just got to fucking participate in what we doing. You can do that by signing up for Digital Good Times Facebook group, or if you want to just be alert and aware of what we got going on, you can join our mailing list. And you can do that all by going to DIGIGoodTimes.com. The website is up and running. And we got stuff coming, man. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we got a merch release. I'm going to go ahead and announce it right now. Coming very soon. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the pre-orders going in October. Shout out to Adult and shout out to Sterling. And the good brother Jack also helped us early with some of the design. We got some fire shit coming, man, for y'all to support, but also look fly. So the only way you're going to be alerted to that is being a part of the tribe. End promo. Also, sponsorships coming in season 4. We only got a few more episodes left in season 3. I want to put that out there. So this is a new segment called Comments of the Week. First one, I want to start with Kamikaze Comments. No.
Oh.
Is it? Comments of the Week.
Gotcha. Okay.
First one is from good brother Jamar. Shout out to Jamar Nolan. He's been kind of a real important and I would say very enlightened brother in the hip hop community, man, doing a lot of dope work. So if you don't know him, holler at him in the DigiGoodTribe Facebook group. And his comment was related to a post titled Joe Budden Podcast Leaves Spotify. And I quote, he says, I don't know if I'm going to pay for the pod, but I don't doubt that Puff would break bread to get it on Revolt or maybe Cash App sponsors like they did during his pull-up series. Spotify continues to show their hand. They don't care about our culture or our creatives. They only care about the growth of Spotify at all costs. Right. And that reason why I wanted to give that quote, because it pretty much sums up what Joe's entire long but very necessary breakdown of their Spotify journey. If you're a podcaster or content creator, you need to listen to that because the way he breaks down that journey will allow you to see how we need to navigate these spaces as content creators. So
I want to go to strip club first so you can understand the parallel.
Yeah. So I just want to highlight that comment and then get y'all thoughts if you had any thoughts. If you haven't listened to the episode, that's okay. But what are your thoughts on the comment or this topic?
It's interesting because I feel like the best way to connect with the audience is if you could do it directly. And these platforms keep coming up, the Spotify, the OnlyFans, and saying, hey, we can get you to your audience and we can make it easy for them to follow you. But then they want to take a cut. They don't want to value you or your time. They don't want to value your content as they should. But if you do the work and you can get your own ads, then you don't have to worry about trying to go through a Spotify. You can still get paid. You don't have to get like a lump sum check, but it takes more legwork. So it's always like the pros and the cons. Like, can you do the work? Do you have the connections to get out there?
Yes, 100%.
To the sponsors.
100%. And I also want to point out, I made this point on the Tribe post as well, that if you aren't already familiar, the reason why YouTube is becoming an emerging platform for content creators, it's already been the place for vloggers. So YouTube vloggers are some of the most important influencers. If you aren't familiar with like PewDiePie is more important than like almost, I'd say 90% of the people that are on Instagram as influencers, because he has actual like millions of subscribers. Now we say subscribers, and we're talking about on YouTube, you have the ability to have like memberships now. So he has millions of memberships. Ain't nobody on fucking Instagram got anybody subscribed as a member on their Instagram.
Right.
But on YouTube, you can join and subscribe, and the baseline price is $4.99. So imagine if Joe and them decide to do live pods, you subscribe and you can catch it immediately on the fly rather than having to wait for it to be pushed to spot. Well, it ain't gonna be on Spotify and good reason. And I'm glad that they're gone so they understand their value, or whatever other platform. And you would then have the ability they would be able to make millions of dollars
through YouTube.
Independently, just through YouTube, and then they could have all other kinds of sponsorships.
Yeah, within like embedded sponsorships inside of the podcast.
So YouTube and Twitch is pretty much the platform that they really built their they built their entire infrastructure in this pay model that YouTube is using. They really got it from Twitch. So either Twitch or YouTube, whichever one you prefer, that is how you get your bread and your money up.
But they can still switch on the audience if they want to. That's the scary part.
This whole situation with Joe Budden makes me think of, we were just watching the No Limit Chronicles, and Master P.
Highly recommend it.
The famous, well-known story of Jimmy Iovine offering him $1 million and him turning it down, and that being one of the things where he realized what he had and how much it was worth. And I can see Joe kind of having those same types of realizations over these past few years with specifically with podcasting, right? Obviously Joe has a lot of different stuff going on, but it just makes me think about that. I think that you're right about YouTube or Twitch being like the most viable places for cutting edge people to be right now. But it does, eventually just comes down to what we, the whole reason why we even do this platform is so that they can have their own platform. So hopefully Joe can build towards that. It'll be cool to see what he kind of
he is doing. That's what
he has his whole following.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna
he kind of teased the network, but like it would be cool to actually see that happen.
So dope is the fact that he went through that whole love and hip hop stage. He went through that whole musician stage and still found a way to still be relevant and
talking
still
shit.
Absolutely.
100%.
I don't think that Spotify would be the same without him.
No,
they wouldn't. They wouldn't.
And like, since he has that huge fan base, you know what I mean? Like, he can literally go and take his stuff to SoundCloud and be like, hey, I'm putting these up for free, these podcasts. He'll have these sponsorship, these dollars coming after him. He doesn't even have to worry about YouTube if he doesn't want to. You know what I mean?
Uzis and all them when they came through, SoundCloud and grabbed them all up.
SoundCloud's got.
I still fuck with
SoundCloud
heavy.
Make his own website.
SoundCloud is great. It has.
I feel like he's gonna be successful.
Yeah,
no matter what.
he's already stated that they got M's that are being thrown at them right now.
I was gonna
he
say.
literally said on the podcast that we got sexy. He said, his term. We got sexy deals. Like he's basically saying like people are already offering us better things than you're offering us Spotify. You're fucking idiots. And that's cool. So it's fine. They'll
gonna regret it.
People will divest. So moving on. Again, this is rapid fire. So like we just I'm gonna keep just ride with me. This one is a more heavier one, and this is a callback to our previous episode, which in my opinion is one of our most groundbreaking. And we do a lot of groundbreaking shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll pack myself. I don't care. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta put your chest out. You gotta put your chest out. We do groundbreaking shit, but that one was a groundbreaking episode. And shout out to Taylor and to Mariah for coming through and helping us facilitate that space. But this conversation, and when we again on the DigiTribe, is a safe and it's an open and inclusive space. So let me put that out there. If that's not your vibe, then you can definitely kick fucking rocks from what we got going on. But I want to highlight this conversation that was really, really, really engaging, and it also shows where we are as a Black community and having these conversations. But the title, and you'll see this again in the DigiTribe DigiPack. The only way you get access to it is you got to be a member or you got to be on a Facebook group. It's not going to be for long. Basically, just wait until the end of 2020, 2021. We definitely coming at a different level. So read that as you will. However, this is from a post titled "The Black Trans Prayer Book." Is a stunning reminder of the everlasting divinity of trans people. The collection is an interfaith text written by Black trans and non-binary believers. And so I want to highlight 2 comments that really highlight why I think community building is important and creating space is important, even if we're doing it in a digital space, because we can't do it in a physical space. The conversation that we're being had in this particular thread, we're really engaging about how if you're somebody who studies African cosmology and African history, you can see that there has been since the beginning a direct connection to divinity and people who are trans, and also people who may fit into the category of intersex.
Right.
And so what's interesting is that, and I'll talk about that. That'll be my second point. Sorry, let me go back. So my homegirl, I actually went to, she was at Spelman, was at Morehouse. My homegirl, her name is Ash, Ash Colte. She stated in her comment, "This is a part of my work as a professor." She is a professor. There's readings on this. There's plenty of evidence to show in history. So there's historical reference to show that there are people in the indigenous cultures that existed as not only just like existed and they were coexisting, they were divine representatives. So that means if you look at it, how perverse colonialism and white supremacy, it has turned people who are considered to be regarded as divine into literally devils and people who are can be easily murdered.
Colonizers are afraid of power, you know what I mean? And so like in a lot of indigenous tribes, if you had the feminine and masculine energy within you, who better to understand what the tribe would need? So a lot of times they would be placed as the leader of the tribe. So if you see that as a colonizer, you're like, wait, I need to take out the powerful people and then make everybody hate them.
100%. So other point I wanted to highlight that was cool out of this conversation. So there was the conversation went left. I'm not going to say who and contributed to it going left. It was somebody who was genuinely trying to have a conversation, but needs time to grow. We won't put it there. You can go find it on the tribe and see the conversation. But what came out of this that was positive, I want to highlight is shout out to the homie Ty. Anybody in the Atlanta community knows Ty St. Boogie. She's a phenomenal journalist, and she basically chopped it up. Ash is like, yo, Ash is working on a book, and she is going to be on Puerto Rico and like the connection to Caribbean culture, and they literally linked up and are going to work. They're going to try to work together, like just through the thread. So that's real community building. I wanted to highlight, like, we really got action going on where people are connecting and are actually collaborating. So get involved, man. I wanted to use that as a plug, but also to show people are doing the real work, even in this thread that went left. And so one other comment I wanted to say is from my wonderful homie, Faye, aka Deku. She is amazing. She was also the person who was the main facilitator of our previous episode on the LGBTQIA plus and Black liberation episode. She was the one responsible for helping me kind of coordinate that. I want to shout her out again. She's fantastic, and she's always dropping knowledge bombs all the time in any of these conversations. And I just want to read her quote. And this is because she responded to something where someone was saying, trying to compare or say that someone who said they had someone in their friend group who was intersex. And this is just, again, I just want to point out, like, we got to really be open and aware to different perspectives. I don't even consider, and this is my ignorance, I don't consider or even am aware of what the perspective of someone who is intersex is experiencing, and how I didn't even know how truly different and differentiated it is from the trans experience. Of course it is, right? But when you have that level of ignorance and you don't even know, I even said in the comments that I don't think I've talked to an intersex person. And Deku was like, actually you probably have, because over 2% of the population is intersex, but they get mutilated. And of course, when they're born, they're mutilated and their genitals and things like that are removed. So I said to say we have to be aware of other people's perspectives. And here's the quote from Faye, aka Deku, and she said, "Intersex people and trans people are both born the way they are born. Both of us aren't defined by our genitals. Neither of us choose to be this way. And indigenous cultures recognize multiple genders outside of the binary." So as again, more people dropping knowledge bombs on this subject, that this is coming from a place holistically and historically. It's not like people are throwing this out of thin air. And the whole point of the post was to basically say that, you know, Black trans people, LGBTQIA plus people are finding ways to connect who they are with their spirituality and going back to pre-colonial. So
I think it's beautiful to just see how the power in this, and for people to just have this much confidence and courage to come out to talk about these things that have been bothering and plaguing people for so long.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like we've been kind of put into this box, or we put ourselves into this box. You guys saw about The Matrix when the director of The Matrix came out and was talking about how it's about non-binary, and just to show like it's not just ones and zeros. There's a lot more out here.
I went back and watched.
And when you accept it, that's when the power comes. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
If you go back and watch that, once again, shout out to Deku. She broke it down. She was like, yo, The Matrix is a The Matrix is a trans story. It's the journey of a trans person and their experience. And if you go back and watch it through that lens, it's gonna
completely
fuck you up. It's nuts. And it literally, Laura or Lana, I missed their first names. Laura Lana, I believe, is one of those. She was basically like, it's out, the cat's out the bag. She's like, people have been talking about it in the trans community for a long time. And that's supposedly Deku was like, yo, we've known about this forever. Like, it's just now that y'all are getting exposure, because it literally came out of the mouths of one of the Wachowski sisters. And I'm a Matrix fanatic. Anybody who knows me, who like really knows me, I'm a Matrix fanatic. It blew my wig back. I just want to say, like, we are in a transformational time. Be open and aware.
I love how they adapted the story, and they were just like, we're gonna make it our own.
It's crazy.
Right.
So
they're going down Matrix wormholes, new Matrix 3.
So we can go down Matrix. You know what I mean? So again, we shouting out commenters who are doing and saying impactful things. We want to lift you up.
Thank you.
Final one, and then we're gonna get into our kind of core of just kind of lifting up our brother Chadwick and just talking about our favorite moments from him and impactful things. And hopefully I might have a segment from a guest, but I don't know. We might put it in later. Anyway, this final comment of the week was on the Jay-Z and Nas dropping on the same day fiasco. And if you don't know, Nas actually tried to answer this question in the Charlemagne interview, where DJ Envy actually asked him straight up, and Nas, being a fantastic, like, smooth operator, was like, yo, that's a coincidence, man. Like, that's pretty interesting. Like, he tried to play it off like he didn't know it was a thing, and then him and Jay like just are on the same frequency. But I didn't want to bring this up just because I think this is a good conversation and a good point. It's a little bit long, but this is from our good brother J Live, aka Justice Allah. And he's a fantastic MC, lyricist, teacher, DJ. He's a samurai. And this was one of his statements on why he thinks the conversations always having to drift to it being competitive is not helpful for the maturation of hip hop. He says, quote, what were Biggie and Pac about to do before they died one by one? Unite the coast after a market-driven real-life costing hip-hop music war. So I'm reading people's quotes. So again, no shot to y'all, man. I'm just reading it as it's written. What was Nipsey about to do before he died? Empower and educate people about entrepreneurship. What is Nas trying to do with this album? Turn up Black Lives Matter into power and wealth building. What's Jay-Z's song about? Black entrepreneurs retaking and retaining ownership. What are people talking about, though? Release dates and petty music beef from their youth.
Straight up. Mature
hip-hop needs maturity from the audience to be effective. I saw that, and it was bars, and he has even more that he stated in there. And so I was actually the person he was commenting or responding to, and also the thread in general. And my comment was, everything he's saying is bars. But what I wonder, and this is when I open this up to y'all can respond to the comment, but also, is the problem also that we may need to do away with our comparative and competitive ranking methodology that's literally embedded / battle culture that's embedded into the ethos of hip hop, that we may need to grow beyond that in order for us to get out of this who's better or best and continually pitting our favorite artists against themselves.
Crabs in a bucket mentality all day.
Open it up.
Crabs in a bucket mentality all day. No matter what you know, as artists, it's always a rat race. Look at Billboard. Look at all of these things that people have to, consistently have to push themselves to maintain a number, shall we say. I think it's a rat race. And I feel like if it wasn't that way, it would be completely different. It would allow us to really see how amazing we are overall as artists and creatives and all that good stuff. I feel like this whole situation is just based on the whole crabs in a bucket mentality all day.
Facts. Yeah. I like the part where you're like, mature hip hop needs maturity from the audience to be effective.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I mean, so that's what I was going to talk about earlier. Like, you ever went back and like just down memory lane and start watching like old hip hop videos from the 90s?
Yeah.
And you start watching and you just look at what they were wearing though.
Yo.
Like, you remember the big t-shirts, the jeans,
big jerseys.
right? Now, mind you, most of us have matured how we dress though. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of people who still dress that way. Yeah. You can tell like their maturity level is still 90s is the golden era hip hop. I don't want to move on from this. So they want to hold on to like, no, we got to have beef in hip hop. We got to have these different things. It's like, that's not really what we on now. No. You know what I mean? We're about progression.
Yeah. Do we need it?
We don't.
Yeah. I really like Nas's answer. I mean, I think it was, him being diplomatic but him just being a classy dude. And he lived through that East Coast West Coast shit, man. You've heard the stories of him and Tupac and him and Big and different situations. So I think that, and then to go through that with Jay-Z, even though it was exciting at the time when it was happening, it was also a little bit scary for us because it wasn't that far removed from Tupac and Biggie. So I think that we were kind of like, okay, this is fun from a hip hop fan standpoint, but like we don't want it to go too far because we now really know what this can be. And so to the point of justice, they Jay-Z and Nas are talking about Black empowerment, and for so many years people complained about the top rappers were only talking about bling and we're only talking about money and cash and all of that, but now we can kind of see what they were talking about 20 years ago, what they've been able to do with that and their mentality, how much, what their mentality was the entire time. And now they're just able to be more free in that. And I just appreciate that Nas and Jay are still around. I wish Pac and Big were still around because I feel like they would be doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, the whole thing of like hip hop needing to mature, absolutely. We're at that point, where, I mean, from the 20th century, another genre, would have already come around and have dominated. So like really hip hop is kind of barely holding on. Not saying it's barely holding on, but like something could come and knock it out at any point in time, So I think that we should not, act too entitled and act too privileged in what hip hop has been able to become and celebrate, some of that Nas and Jay can do what they're doing right now. So.
Yeah,
I feel like too, like the whole situation with kind of touching base on what Jack said about like, the everybody talking about vagina and everybody talking about, I mean, you didn't say those words, but like the younger generation of artists, being so apt to talk about what's catchy, what's trendy, I think with their age has come, more growth. I think it wasn't really cool back in the day to really talk about certain things, even though they did talk about certain things. They still, with their age, there's maturity too. So we got to kind of look at it like that as well.
Yeah, and I also think to put a nice little bow, nice little ribbon on into this, and then we'll go into our core, man, of lifting up our good brother. I think that when it comes to maturity as well, we have to understand. And this was a whole nother post that it was we got a lot of good shit happening in the tribe, y'all. This is just facts. These are pure facts. But there was one where I mentioned the city girls and talking about things like divine feminine, and that went up and everybody was going crazy. And essentially, I was saying is that if we look at maturity, like all of the women coming into hip hop, there is, when it comes to like that ranking and that comparison and that beef stuff, none of that's there. If you look at all the young women, whether it's Saweetie, whether it's Flo Millie, like they all rock with each other. They all are collabing. Right. There's none of that negativity. They all are supporting each other because they understand they're building a thriving ecosystem. Whereas when it comes to the niggas, like none of them fuck with each other at all. Like almost everybody pretends like they do, but they really don't. Yeah. Everybody's like in their own separate siloed walls, or whether it's even street shit or gang shit. And it's like, man, they could really take a page out of the book from the sisters.
Even looking at like City Girls reaching out to like Nicki, like
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Like women are so powerful and united. I feel like if the men got on that same page, oh my goodness,
game changer.
we'd run it.
All a part of the maturity.
We run it anyways because they take our culture, but you know how that goes.
So it's that time where we gotta go. You know,
dude, I'm tearing up. Dude, I'm tearing up.
Real talk. We gotta get into we this episode was just gonna be like, again, we don't have a title yet, but it's gonna be like off the top or off the top of the dome strip, or it's just gonna be like where it's structured but not a lot.
Right.
This happened and we're just like, yo, let's just make this be at least some dedication to the good brother Chadwick Boseman, who untimely left us, but has gone to join the ancestors, which is so amazing. The imagery and the beautiful stories that he has. And you can go back and watch Black Panther, which I haven't yet. I
watched it last night.
I can. I'm watching tonight. And but just the scene where he's connecting with the ancestors, it's like that shit hits so different. You know what I mean?
And like every single word, you're like, like when he lays down and they have to bury him, you're like,
it's just like,
man, I want to cry.
I know, that's what I say. Y'all could be, we can be. It's like this brother was, and so I'll share my story, and I wonder, I hope it doesn't take me. I don't know if that took me out the Zoom.
Hopefully. Yeah, it did.
All right, that's okay, because it doesn't matter. I wanna see if I can get. I might have to see if I can airdrop it. So while I'm doing this, y'all will talk about how y'all feel. I want to get a segment from my good brother Damon, who is a huge Black Panther fan. And just to give a little background about my brother Damon, and then we'll all get into the subject. We worked together at Apple for years. He's an incredible human, and he essentially helped facilitate all of we would do these meetups. We've been doing movie meetups forever in our Apple little clique or whatever, even people who no longer work at Apple. And it'd be like 15, 20 plus people in these meetups to go see these Marvel films for years. And so he organized this himself. He do the group meetups. He buy the tickets. Also, shout out to my good brother Quentin, who also was a part of helping organize those things. And he got me back into Black Panther on the comic book tip. This is in 2015 when we knew it was coming, when we knew the film was coming, and then we knew that Chadwick was involved with it.
Right.
He got me back into the comics. He's been a diehard Black Panther fan his entire life. And so I wanted to just get him to speak on what the Chadwick meant to him in the film. And we'll play that, and then we'll get everybody's talk. So let's see if this works.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it on here. Let's see if it works.
It's really
you run it back.
And
it's really
that's all.
That to lose
Can
him.
you turn it up?
Such a bright actor, and
I don't even know what mic is coming from.
No, this is coming from the iPad. Can you turn the audio up on the iPad?
Yeah.
Start it over.
Yeah, start it over. We getting it together, y'all. Man, he did a video. It's long, but we'll play parts of it.
All right, go ahead, try it.
Let's see if we can get it.
And
okay.
It's really sad to lose him. He was such a bright and upcoming actor, and really, I'm telling you a quick story about like with Black Panther in the movie. When I was back home in New Jersey, I used to hang out with my friends, and the group of us used to go to the movies together. That was our thing. You know, we go to see the big blockbuster thing. Somebody gets the tickets. We meet at the theater. We watch, have a good time, and I really loved that. And when I came down here, I always wanted to have that same kind of connection. But it was kind of hard to get that off the ground, but we did start doing it with the Star Wars movies, and then worked into the Marvel movies. And I remember when Black Panther was finally announced, I was like, this is gonna be my personal project to make sure I get the group together and we all go see this joint, because it's going to be phenomenal.
Yep.
Even when he first showed up in Civil War, he every moment he was on screen, it was electrifying. You know, Chad really brought this character to life. And this character is really important to me, not just because he's Black, but because of the African part. This African Afrofuturism part, because I love science fiction, and I love comic books, and I love our African culture, and bringing that all together in Wakanda was just amazing. And just seeing like how much of a hero he was, how heroic he was, and how he was willing to go against his own traditions to do the right thing. Right. Seeing the women beautiful and strong and smart and courageous and supportive, and seeing those men support those women. And the cultural impact of this movie is really what drove it home. Seeing how growing up, we were made fun, we were told to make fun of our African culture, but as you get older, we start to embrace it more and more. And this is something that's been taken away from us centuries ago. We've been trying to figure out who we are for 400 years, but seeing this cultural phenomenon of Africans and wearing African garb and all the symbolism there, it's nothing like I can ever even put into words. I can't even imagine anything else being more impactful, especially to the children.
So that was it. That's like the gist of it. He got a little bit more, but thank you, Damon, for sharing that. And again, he brought joy to not only us, but just the community. It's all about community building, even small, 15 group, 20 group people, to bring that many people together and to really spread that energy is amazing. And it was all because of the work and the craftsmanship of Chadwick Boseman and his contribution. So now I want to open it up, man. Just talk about what's your favorite thing about his work or favorite thing about him, and then we'll bring it home.
There's so much.
Yeah, it's a lot. So what's crazy is my fiance, her first blockbuster film that she worked on, Amber.
Love you, Amber.
It was Black Panther. So how it comes full circle is that so she gets on that film, people on that film get her on other films. She brings me on the other films. The people who I'm on with on those blockbuster films get me on Avengers. So I'm on Avengers, Infinity War working, and I'm eating on lunch, and I see like Chad and his group, his homies. I'm like, oh, my homegirl was like, oh, you want to go meet him? I was like, yeah. So I walk up to him, and he's like, yo, just say hi. He's cool. And I'm like, yo, hey, what's up? I'm like, thank you. I appreciate everything you're doing for little black boys. He's like, yo, anytime. I was like, damn, like just humble, ate with the people, and I was like, yo, and just to see his career just take off. And everybody was like, oh, yeah, he's the next one. They saw it in his eyes, Everybody else, you're like, oh, okay, cool. They have some cool flicks, but his passion for the craft was evident in every single role he played.
Yeah, man.
I love the fact that, I don't think that people know, like, his whole, like, history and all that good stuff and how he was a Harvard graduate and, he worked with, what's her name from The Cosby Show? Aunt Viv was actually, like, his mentor at Harvard. She was like a professor.
Claire, not the one Claire Huxtable?
Or remember Felicia Rashad?
Yeah, Felicia Rashad. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Felicia Rashad actually became one of his mentors, and the dopest part is she kind of helped to put him in a position to get funding to continue to go to school and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he would take acting jobs to actually pay for his college education. He knew he wanted to be a director, of course. So, even down to like looking at like his whole history of like things he starred in. We look at All My Children and a whole bunch of other shows that he starred in, but look at 42 and him playing Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson.
That was the first movie I ever seen him in.
Yeah, it's crazy to see like how he has been in a position to literally have Black children look at him and allow us to see Black men for who they really are, as kings. And he really has, exuded this king mentality and this just king aura, like even people that he works with, like everybody knows him, like you said, for being humble and for just being like so amazing at his craft and really consistently working on his craft. Just to see like that power in the Black Panther, role. It's just so sad. Like 2020 is such a crappy year to like lose some of the people that we. I'm telling you, man, like to lose some of the people some of the Black individuals that are like so empowering. At the end of the day, like he really, he served his purpose here.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, he was doing the ancestors' work, obviously. And you know, just to be, I mean, of course, I got emotional obviously this morning when I was going through reading all the comments, but it was more specific when I got to watching the clips where he was talking about working with the terminally ill kids.
Oh yeah.
And like he started tearing up, and he even said in one part of the interview, they're like, you know, you must be going through a lot. He was like, you have no idea. He said, one day I'll be able to tell this story. And now we know what he's talking about, that you were fighting stage 4 terminal cancer while filming one of the most active, most action-packed films of the last 10, 20 years.
Like superhero.
It's like, yeah, you are working from the divine, the Orisha, the ancestors were using you at that point.
That just goes to show though, like how much Black men have to bear and carry. You know, I think it's really important to point out this man had one of the worst types of cancer. Like colon cancer is like terrible. And to just think that you could, you know, carry on that way and then not be emotional, not be in everybody's face about it. You know, it wasn't publicized.
Nobody knew.
You know,
and that kind of speaks to how. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thing like where you know older Black men would never tell people about what they were dealing with health wise or not. You know, it's just it's really like challenging and sad to like.
I just wanted to say that him working while you know, battling cancer, you know, speaks to how tapped in he was with his purpose. Now, I feel like we've heard similar stories with people who know that, you know, their time is potentially limited and they choose to continue to work through that time because they know that the work that they do will have an impact, you know, far beyond when they're gone. And so, you know, it's just he's another one of those heroes. You know, I think of some of the other people that we've lost this year, Senator John Lewis, you know, Kobe Bryant, people like that. And there's a bit of a commonality between these individuals where, you know, like you said, Ashley, there's a showing a side of Black men that has not been highlighted as much as of late, especially as it pertains to like having class, having a type of honor, pushing for something that's bigger than you. We've been in such a, you know, egotistical, me, I'm the man. You know, I'm on the king of the hill, on top of the hill type of mentality for so long that we forget about, like, you know, the Muhammad Ali's and the Martin Luther King's and the Malcolm X's. People revered them because they were morally good people. You know, they had good character and they fought for something that was bigger than them. I think that's why, you know, these, you know, recent deaths are hitting us the way that they're hitting us, because we're like, wow, these are the people that we're losing. But I think that if there's a silver lining in that, the inspiration, I mean, Kobe is immortalized, Chadwick is immortalized, you know, Senator John Lewis, you know, all, you know, C.T. Vivian, all these different people, they're immortalized so that this generation that's coming up, that they are brilliant, but maybe they're missing some things historically. These things start to become more present. And you know, as they're coming up, they know about Nipsey, they know about Kobe, they know about, you know, Chadwick, so that 15, 20 years from now, we will see the impact of that influence. So I think that's if, you know, there's a positive in it, I think that their impact is really going to resonate with people.
He's godly, man.
Yeah, that's really like, you know, what it is. And, you know, people can say, you know, I like the term when we say king and stuff like that. But we base that off of really like, again, a colonialist kind of interpretation of what king is. And then you can even say pharaoh, which is cool too, but then that also is a different kind of connotation historically, hierarchical historically, and that's not what he was about at all. You know what I mean? But if you, and then this isn't to get, you know, spiritual, but hey, you know, the ancestors are working, and, you know, shout out to Bay. She's the one go ahead and curating that energy of our traditional African religions that I urge you all to go and try to go study the history of your ancestors. There's an incredible doc called Voodoo, directed by Jaimin Hansu. which I've been wanting to use this. I don't know if this snippet. I want to use this snippet.
Oh, it's Jarman Hansu.
Wait, this is Eric Andre.
Oh, it's Jarman Hansu.
That's how you say his
Is
name.
he rapping?
No, he's just yeah. And he made this incredible book. Like it's essentially like an African history, African religion, African cosmology, African spirituality primer 101. We put it in the DigiTribe. I want to illustrate again. If you were vibing or you felt the energy of what Bay was doing with that fantastic Black is King film, or if you resonated with Black Panther and all of the African cosmology and all of the African history that's built into it, I think that it would do you of service to go and to at least understand where the origins of these spiritual practices come from, where all the culture, all the fashion, all the things you're seeing, like go study where it comes from. And there's this doc that again I'm referencing that will give you that. But I also just wanted to say that I think, you know, he definitely was a representation and manifestation of the ancestors. Like example, someone like Shango, who is a warrior god. He literally was a warrior in every aspect, whether it was spiritual. He put his whole family on. And we'll wrap this up shortly, but I want to get everybody's final segment. And we'll move on to our final segment. But just speaking my heart about how I connected with him and how he really was a model example of like, man, this is what a Black man really looked like, who's really like really doing his thing. And so I went down rabbit holes, which I tended to happen. I begin to get very obsessive.
I think we all do.
Yeah, I get very obsessive when Black Panther came out. Like after it came out, and we saw it like 2 or 3 times in the theaters. And then I just wanted to study every single thing that this dude had done, not only just film wise, but all his interviews. If you go back and watch his interviews now, man, it's like to Jack's point, it's super next level class. Right. But he was talking about, they're like, yeah, so how do you do with your family, and how do you, and from the small town he's from, which I can't remember, but it's a small town. I want to say it's Mississippi, but I'm wrong. I don't know where. Somebody can look that up. He was like, yo, when I go back, like I bring the resources back to my entire family. So our entire neighborhood, my entire community, like they all have a part in what I'm doing and the production and a part of this. And he's like, yeah, I gotta take turns when I take people to the certain premieres. I can't take the whole family. He was like, but everybody is a part of this ecosystem, and this is why I do it for. And it was just like, it just hit me, man. Like every aspect of what he was doing.
Family.
Yeah.
I can
South
only
Carolina.
imagine, like,
South Carolina.
Yeah. I can only imagine like what they're dealing with right now. Especially like that's a void.
Yeah,
that's a deep void.
It's a big vacuum, man.
I wanted to talk too about like the 5 Bloods.
Yeah, like, I couldn't even get through. So I want to get to your point. I'm sorry. Just like I couldn't finish that film. And here's what's interesting and eerie about it, and how like the spirit and energy works. I didn't realize that movie's gonna be as violent as it is. It's like fucked up violent. Like, and it's like wasn't prepared for it. It was so intense, and we're living these intense times. I didn't know it's like people getting their body blown off and fucking crazy shit like that. And so like I couldn't even get through. I got halfway through it, and like his presence, because he's literally like a spirit and a ghost in it. It was throwing me off. Like his presence in it, like the energy in it was throwing me off, bro. And I mean that, like, this is not me saying that because of him. Just, it's like I couldn't finish it because it's like it was sitting with me in a weird way. If that makes sense to anybody?
Yeah, of course.
So that's my
this is still super fresh. By the time this airs, it may be a few days removed. We're still a couple days, right? At this point, so it's super fresh. I think that feeling that you're describing, the last time I remember feeling something like that was when Tupac died, where there was almost feeling like, there was a minute where people didn't even believe that Tupac was dead for a while, right? So there was this almost like eerie, like he's still around kind of feeling, even though he was gone. And I think that from what you're describing, it seems like that may be kind of a little bit of what that is. So
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Actually, what did you say?
I wanted to touch bases on that movie because the whole location, like, it was Vietnam.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really think about this, but I think deeply about it because, my grandfather was a veteran too in Vietnam, and how they served in Vietnam back in the day, and how they basically fought for their country and was still treated so terribly when they came home.
Yeah.
I just look at it like it was so empowering for him to be in a film, even talking about Vietnam overall, to revisit, something like that. But the spiritual part about it, I think like it really fucks with us. It fucks with us deeply.
For sure.
And I think it kind of evokes some things in our spirit as far as, who we are as a people.
Yes.
And what we bring to the table.
Yes. it's an awakening happening, y'all, and we're gonna go ahead and tie the bow on that. Unless anybody had any final comments, we lift you up, brother, and of course the whole world is doing that now. So go stream every single film that you can. If you watch the Five Bloods, I'm gonna finish it just so I can just tribute and honor to him. Black Panther, Civil War, whatever, and we lift you up. And your spirit and your energy has changed the world forever and ever. And there's going to be many people who follow after you, brother. So we lift you up. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and transition to our final segment of Picks of the Week. Shout out to Redman. Yeah, man. So I will go first just to bring a little levity, even though it's not really hard. It's hard to do during these times. It's so much shit going on, y'all. That's the reason why we could have talked about another situation on police brutality like we did Black Lives Matter, and we always are talking about it. We are totally engaged on that in the DigiTribe. We're never getting off of that subject, but we wanted to at least make it a conversation about different things, because we know the system of white supremacy and the police state is never going to change unless we uproot it. That's just plain fucking facts. We can march all goddamn day. We can do all these different things we want to do, but until we rebuild it, shit's never going to change. And so we just got to come up to that realization that this is just going to be what it is. This is what it is for us as Black people in America, and we got to work. We got to move ourselves accordingly. That's a subject for another time. But my pick to bring some levity, because I've been needing it, man. To be honest, it's like a lot of heavy stuff I've been having, just like all of us. So I wanted to get to something light, and I don't have a soundbite, but I recommend that you go find this show however you can. I'll just say that use your resources. But it's a fantastic show. It's a UK show. It's called Stath Lets Flats, STATH Let's Flats, and it's like one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. It's literally a combination of The Office and it's Borat-ish, but only in the sense of he has a unique accent. He's Greek, and it's fucking funny as shit, man. And I love UK comedies. I'm a big fan of things like IT and IT Crowd and all that shit. And it's just really been a positive, funny energy. I also want to shout out, some talking about comedy, another comedy with we're talking about Black people who build in community. Shout out to Kev on Stage, because I just experienced his live comedy show. I actually bought a ticket yesterday. It's like $13, and I want to shout out Kev on Stage. What he's doing is fantastic, and the platform essentially is you got a live show. A few people can come, socially distant, like maybe 30 people, and they live stream it live through YouTube. It's a private link, and then it's only up for 24 hours. And that model, what he's got going, I think that's a fucking awesome, sustainable model for musicians, because it could be like, all right, I'm about to do a show. Only people who pay for the Eventbrite get this show link, and it's live, but then you can also watch it for 24 hours, and then it expires. It's fire, and it's also, he had incredible comedians. Check out Kev on Stage as well for my comedy picks of the week. That's
nice.
I am still on this whole Lovecraft Country vibe.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to.
Man. Quick plug. It'll be my homegirl's in it tomorrow, which will be yesterday. Naomi Mack. Shout out to Naomi Mack. She's gonna be in Lovecraft Country.
What role she plays?
She's actually on the poster. So if you look at the poster that was on the New York Times, she's the girl on the left.
I feel like this show is so necessary for us. I'm still kind of my wheels are turning, because I watched the first episode. So I'm in a long distance relationship, and how we've been keeping it fresh is by watching shows together? Through. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, together. So awesome. He suggested, I was like, what is that? It's by Jordan Peele, right? Is it?
Yeah, Jordan Peele is executive producer, and so is Steven.
Yeah.
Which one?
It's all Black people, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's either Steven Spielberg or Stephen King.
Okay, it's collaboration.
Yeah, but it's really crazy. I think it's
everybody's saying it's one of the best shows.
Man, I'm telling you, and I don't get excited about shows like that, but this one
is it giving
Stephen King?
Is it giving Watchmen a show, a run for his money? Because Watchmen was
absolutely, hands down.
Damn, it's giving Watchmen a run for his money.
Because it's a whole different world. It's
a whole
two completely different worlds.
No, but I'm just on the scale of how they elevated Black.
If you watching Lovecraft Country, you're learning things on the first episode about what sundown.
sundown towns.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
wait,
I think a lot of people
it's
don't
informing a
realize
lot
there
of
are
people.
still sundown towns that actually
still
exist.
happening right now.
But yeah, it sheds
watching
a
it.
lot of
It's
light
done.
on
It's done.
a lot of racial situations and laws that are in place. I mean, even how like it's like I was saying, it's like different worlds. Like literally,
No,
it's like different worlds.
I'm on it. I'm on it. Say less.
Yeah,
say less. I'm on
man,
it.
it's
Anything
lit.
that highlights history that a lot of mainstream people don't know about, I think is ultra important right now, because a big part of the divisions and these we've seen these opinions that are like almost make your head spin, is the fact that people don't believe in the same form of history, the same version of history. So I think the same way that Watchmen, for some people that was the first time that they knew about
Exposure of white
here recently, TV exposed a lot of people to Juneteenth. A lot of people didn't know about Juneteenth, so I think that it's important for them to continue to do that through entertainment.
I was interviewing somebody for a documentary, and he was a Caucasian young man, and he was saying how I was like asking about a specific town, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, you don't know about that?" And I was like, "What's sundown?" I mean, no, he dropped a bomb on me because I was like, "Well, what's that?" Like,
My hometown used to have an actual billboard. Don't let the sun.
Dope though, like to see all of these, like everybody uniting on a media scale, entertainment scale, like to really bring these things out and to be allowed to be able to do these things. So moving on, like I said again, that show is
Lovecraft Country
off the chain. My music pick is going to be a young lady. She's part of the LGBT community.
Okay.
Her name is MKXYZ. She's a R&B singer. She kind of raps a little bit too.
Okay.
I think she's like Asian or Korean. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But like between her dancing, I know this is a
dope.
stretch, but she's like a female Chris Brown.
Okay.
A female Chris Brown. Like she's really, really dope.
That's the bar.
And
What record? Is there a particular song that we can feature on there? If not, that's cool.
I mean,
like
I'm kind of like she has a song with G-Eazy, but it's not like my favorite. She has a couple other ones. I'd have to like look at them again.
That's cool. But just
but she's vibes.
Say her name again.
MKXYZ.
MKXYZ. We'll find. I'll
kind of crazy name, but yeah,
and I'll put it in the.
She's dopeness, man. Her voice is amazing.
Nice.
Cool. Next up,
you want to go, Jack? I want me to go?
Yeah. When Amon was talking about comedy picks, it made me think about one of our day ones, Crystal Pierce, who's been producing a lot of content, doing a lot during COVID. Like I think her pivot during COVID has been remarkable. So we just wanted to make sure we plug Crystal as well. We did a episode with her and Joel. What was it, 2 seasons ago, something like that. But just wanted to highlight her as well. Also, I was featured on a new song by Omid called "The Country" with the little thing in them. I don't know what kind of O. With the little, it's spelled, but country is her name, and it's me and another MC. The song is called "Dancing Down the Walls." It's political. It's pretty much an anti-Trump song, which I usually don't be so like on the head about things like that. Like I probably would not with my solo stuff like make an anti-Trump song, but it was something different. It's got like a dance vibe, almost like a Burning Man type feel to it.
Nice.
Yeah, man, I just had to get my fuck Trump bars on real quick.
It's got a unique vibe. I also want to go ahead plug on the DigiTribe.
Hey.
We got track of the week. It's going up now. People are actually paying attention, and that was featured. Jack shared his track of the week last week,
Jack.
and he can share it again. So if you got music you want to share with us, you can do it in real time on the thread. That post is always up, so you can just go in there and update and add new music, so you can contribute, and then maybe we feature it or we play it on the show. You are a part of the community. This is not a one-way street. So I just wanted to shout that out. You know what I mean? To all of
Jack,
our musicians.
He's dope though, bro. Like,
yeah, he's out here, man.
Yeah, he vibes,
Got some stuff in the chamber. There's some stuff coming on the way, so y'all keep it locked.
I can only
nice
imagine.
little appetizer for the people.
Oh yeah. We got some stuff, man. My birthday's coming up. Let me just say that there's some shit coming out.
I got one more thing to plug.
For sure.
Shameless plug.
Go ahead.
So my boyfriend has this book that's about to be released. It is called "I Loved You More Last Year." It's a book full of poetry. It's so deep. It made me honestly look at men completely different. And like I was talking about Jack earlier with the whole like emotional thing. I think as women, we just think that men are just these strong, big buff guys that are supposed to just protect us and like not really wear a face as far as emotions are concerned and always be like the tough guy. But he like really exposes the true feelings of, men.
We're humans too. We got feelings.
Yeah.
We got emotions.
We bleed the same blood.
Man, when I tell you that's crazy, it's crazy.
That's fire. So we'll link to that in the back as well and take us home.
All right. So interesting enough, we got Umbrella Academy. I don't know if anybody watched that.
Loved it.
And what was so crazy because I know they filmed it like last year, but when it dropped, it was in the middle of like the civil unrest and the protests, and the whole family got put back into the 60s. So it was in the middle of that. I was like, wow, like just the way things come together as far as the media goes. Legend of Korra, rewatched that.
Yeah,
took away all those nuggets and those, spiritual.
Nuts.
Yeah. I read this book called Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking. It's like from 2005, but it talks about like trusting your intuition and like how to train it and how to know when you can rely on it and when not to. Really good book. I suggested by what's his name, Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah, that one. And one I'm looking forward to is The Boys.
That's dropping soon.
What's that about?
Amazon
Man,
Prime.
it's the anti-heroes. Yeah, it's like
super fucked up Superman that melts your face. And is a murder psychopath.
Yeah.
Besides that,
it's good.
It's good.
Oh, you gotta watch season 1, like the first scene. You're just like, oh.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be like that.
What platform is that on?
Prime.
Okay.
Yeah. So definitely watch that. Again, Lovecraft Country. Homegirl Naomi Mack. So make sure y'all check her out.
I'm trying to wait. I'm trying to wait it out.
Man,
the man comes on Friday or Saturday, and I'm like, I'm sitting here like, okay, am I cheating if I watch it without this?
We're doing a little social distance screening for her.
Hopefully he doesn't hear this.
So thank y'all. This episode again is one of our freewheeling kind of like off the dome strip episodes, but also in tribute to the wonderful brother Chadwick Boseman, aka the Black Panther who lives forever. We got more coming. We got a few more episodes left in season 3. Again, before season 3 ends, we will have a merch drop. Pre-orders will be coming soon. Like we said, new projects, new music coming soon. So all you got to do to stay abreast, I love that, is abreast, yeah, I mean, is to sign up to the Digital Good Times mailing list, which you can do by going to digigoodtimes.com or going to our Facebook group and putting in DigiGoodTribe and joining us, man. Become a part of what we're building. So much more to come. And on that note,
we love you guys.
Yep.
We love you guys.
Are fully out here.
Holler at you.
Deuces. Bam.
Yo, Jack.
Bam.
You are literally